Instead of looking at the derivative of one point at a time, we can look at the derivative for general x. When we do that, we get back a function of x. To express this new function, we usually use this form of the difference quotient, f of x plus h minus f of x over h. We take the limit of that as h goes to 0 to get the instantaneous slope of the function at x. What we come up with is a new function called f prime of x. F prime is called the derived function. Let's see how this works on an example. Let's take the example f of x equals x squared, and let's apply this limit to it to figure out this new function f prime of x. To do that, we need to know what f of x plus h is. To find f of x plus h, we put in x plus h for x, and we get x plus h squared. The other piece we need here is just f of x, but f of x is x squared. We combine those together to find f prime of x. F prime of x will be the limit as h goes to 0. In for f of x plus h, we put x plus h squared, and then we subtract. In for f of x, we put x squared, and then we divide the whole thing by h. So now we need to figure out this limit. To do that, we'll expand x plus h squared. So we multiply out x plus h squared, and we get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And we still have this minus x squared at the end. So now we can see that this x squared will cancel this x squared. We'll just be left with 2xh plus h squared, and we can factor an h out of that. And so what we end up with is h times 2x plus h divided by h, and the h's will cancel out. And when we cancel the h's out, we're just left with the limit as h goes to 0 of 2x plus h, and that's, of course, 2x. So what we found is that the derived function f prime of x, which we write over here, is 2x. So starting with f of x equals x squared, we've derived the function f prime of x equals 2x. This is a general function that will give the slope of f of x at any particular value of x. That is, the derived function can be used to answer questions like this. What's the slope of y equals x squared at x equals 2? Well, what you do is you want to find the instantaneous slope of x squared at x equals 2. So you start with this function, you would go through this process, but we've already done that. This is the derived function, so all we have to do is plug in 2. So f prime of 2 is equal to 2 times 2 is 4. So the slope at y equals x squared of y equals x squared at x equals 2 is just 4. Similarly, if we want to know the slope of y equals x squared at x equals minus 3, we can use the derived function. F prime of x will give us slope. So the slope, the instantaneous slope, will be f prime of minus 3 or minus 6. And then we can do that at any point we want. If we wanted at pi, f prime of pi would be 2 pi. That's the slope of y equals x squared at x equals pi. So the derived function can be used to find slope. So it's very handy to derive the entire function as a derivative, as opposed to just finding the slope at just one point.